Hello everyone, my name is Emily Chatland, and I'm here today to speak with you about an issue that I believe affects not only those involved, but our society as a whole: paid maternity leave. According to the Bipartisan Policy Center, the United States is one of 6 countries in the world that does not have a national paid maternal leave policy. Access to paid maternal leave affects everybody, not just those who are expecting. I have researched the impact of paid maternity leave on newborns, families, and society, and the evidence overwhelmingly supports a federal mandate. The U.S. federal government should require 12 weeks of paid maternity leave for full-time employees to support infant health, reduce postpartum depression, and promote gender equality in the workplace. To understand why this policy is necessary, we will first examine the struggles that new mothers face without access to paid maternity leave. Without a federal mandate enforcing paid maternity leave, mothers are forced to return to work too quickly, which can negatively affect their health, newborn health, and their jobs. Infant health heavily relies on a mother's ability to provide them with adequate care for an extended period of time. Infants are adjusting to a new environment, one with several dangers, and they need their mothers to support them in this transition. Having to return to work too early limits a mother's ability to breastfeed, attend to their newborn's medical needs, and provide emotional support. This can have negative impacts on infants, such as low weights, an increased risk of mortality, and slower development. A study conducted by developmental psychologist, NYU Steinhardt assistant professor Natalie Brito suggests that an absence of paid maternity leave has negative consequences on mothers and their newborns. The study found that mothers who were granted leave were over 7 times more likely to have infants with brain activity patterns linked to more advanced development. The EEG scans of the newborns in this study showed higher frequency brain scans, suggesting that they had healthier brain growth. Postpartum depression is a side effect of childbirth that affects 13 to 19% of women in the United States. PPD can cause severe depressive episodes in mothers that can also have a negative effect on infant health. Studies show that unpaid maternity leave is associated with having an increased odds of postpartum depression symptoms compared to those who were granted paid maternity leave. Many women in the workforce are at risk for losing their jobs or being penalized for taking more time off than they are initially granted. These women often find it necessary for their newborn's development as well as their own mental health. Unfortunately, the unrealistic expectations the workforce has now for new mothers has resulted in obvious gender inequalities in professional and household settings. When women lose their jobs or go weeks without pay to take care of their newborns, the wage gap increases, reinforcing the negative stereotypes that have affected women for centuries. The findings of a study on maternity leave inequality prove that more generous maternity leave policies promote gender equality in both household decision-making and workplace norms. This study proves that it is necessary to provide women with a proper amount of paid maternity leave. The lack of paid maternity leave has proved to be very harmful. So what should we do about it? The solution is simple: a mandate that requires employers to grant new mothers 12 weeks of paid leave. The United States federal government should enforce a policy that requires all employers to grant full-time employees 12 weeks of paid maternity leave at a reasonable percentage of the employee's salary. By granting women the personal time off that they need, they will be able to spend more time meeting their infant needs. This will lead to a decrease in the number of newborns who suffer from decreased mental and physical development. There will also be a significant decrease in the number of women who experience symptoms of PPD if this policy isn't enacted. A decrease in the number of women who experience symptoms of PPD will also lead to an increase in healthy infants. By granting women more paid maternity leave, the wage gap will decrease, combating harmful stereotypes that negatively impact women's voices at home and in the workplace. The plan for implementing a 12-week paid maternity leave policy is straightforward and actionable. First, a bill proposing 12 weeks of paid maternity leave will be introduced in Congress. It will then be reviewed by the relevant committees in both the House and the Senate to ensure that the policy is feasible and effective. After the bill is reviewed, it will be debated by both chambers of Congress. During this stage, the bill may be amended to address any concerns or improve the language of the policy. Following the debate, a vote will be held. If both chambers of Congress pass the bill, it will be sent to the President for approval. The President will either sign the bill into law or veto it. If signed, the law will be enacted, ensuring that all full-time employees are granted 12 weeks of paid maternity leave. The policy will be funded through social insurance funds supported by contributions from employers, employees, and the government, similar to systems already set in place in several other countries. This shared funding model ensures that the cost is distributed fairly across all parties. With this solution in place, the future for families across the nation seems very desirable. If the United States enacts a policy that requires employers to grant their employees with 12 weeks of paid maternity leave, there will be an increase in the number of healthy infants, a decrease in the number of new mothers who experience symptoms of PPD, and a society where women will no longer be forced to choose between a career and a family. In order to make this a reality, we need the support of our government and the citizens it governs. It is time for the United States to catch up with the rest of the world and start supporting working mothers. Paid maternal leave has proved to improve infant and maternal health while combating gender inequality in the workplace and at home. The health of future generations, the strength of families, and fair treatment in the workplace will all be affected by this policy. Whether you plan on starting a family or not, this issue matters to you. Show your support for this issue by getting involved with organizations that advocate for paid maternal leave. Contact your state representative and demand a policy that will benefit mothers, infants, and the rest of our society. Change happens now. Thank you.